this week's edition of On the Money with Secure Money, and I'm Rebecca Powers here with Brian Quaranta. He, of course, created Secure Money Advisors. Great to see you as always.
Great to see you. Happy to be here.
Yes. So we always talk about how you are a fiduciary, that you have created this model, and a lot of people are going toward it, of becoming independent fiduciaries, away from the big boxes. You don't have to tell people, stay in the stock market. It's just a paper loss. We tell the story of when you began, how they taught you, tell them to ride the wave, it's okay, don't worry, but easy for them to say.
Well, I've always said that it's really easy to tell somebody else to risk their money and not worry about it, especially if you get paid a fee or a commission to do it. I mean, you ever play blackjack with a friend behind you? You know,
put down a black chip, go 100.
No, hit that. You know, no, and that's essentially what you have when you have a financial advisor that's guiding you in the market. And you know, a lot of these advisors these days, they're young, right? A lot of them don't even have the amount of money saved in the market that their clients do.
Exactly.
You know, and they're taking advice from people that don't even have any money saved yet.
Right.
When you start to save and accumulate a lot of money, you'll learn very quickly that protecting it is one of the most important things you can do.
I remember it so well. In 2008, I was an anchor. My co-anchor had been on national network news. He, very accomplished. And he got kind of pale, and he put his head down. He used to always look at his money online on the computer at work. And he kind of put his head down, and he said, Beck, I don't think I'm going to come back. Like, he looked like he was going to throw up. It was the crash of 2008. He was unmarried. He had saved everything. Didn't even buy a house. He was so big on putting money, saving money. He thought saving. He lost almost half of everything. And he literally had to go home from work that night and not come back and do the 10 o'clock show with me. That's how bad it was.
Because he was so devastated, right? I mean, think about if you had $1 million back then, and you just lost $500,000 in the matter of hours. 8 months.
Or it feels like hours when you open that paper. Or you look
in a very short period of time. The joke that started many years after 2007, 2008 was your 401k turned into a 201k. And look, when you work hard for your money and you're going to work on days that you don't want to go to work, you're traveling
away from your children,
away from your family, maybe going to work with people that you don't necessarily care for all the time. That's a lot of sacrifice that you're doing to create and accumulate money.
So why risk it?
Why risk it? Especially entrepreneurs. You know, entrepreneurs will ask me a lot of times, how should I invest my money? You should be investing in your company.
Right.
The best company for you to own is your own company.
Right.
The best stock for you to buy is your own stock. I mean, where would you rather put your money? Microsoft or your own business? If you invest in your own business, and a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand this, you're taking money that you've risked to make because you've started a business, you might have employees, and you take it out of your business and you give it to another business, like Microsoft or Apple or whatever companies you buy. Why in the world would you give that money to another business when you can invest it back in your business and probably make a much greater rate of return than you would in any of those other companies? Now, I'm not saying that you can't invest a little bit of money, but just think about that, especially if you're just getting started with your company. The best place for you to invest is back into your company. A lot of young entrepreneurs are taking their money out and investing in the stock market. Why? It makes no sense to me.
You're the first person I've ever heard say that, and that is really fantastic advice, because at least you have some control. Because when it's in the stock market, you have no idea what it's going to do.
No idea what it's going to be. So if you invest, let's say you invest $10,000 back into your business, what kind of return could you get on that? If you invested let's say you invested $60,000 in a new employee, what kind of return could you get on that? Right? Or you invested $10,000 into new equipment, what type of return could that get you? Entrepreneurs don't think that way. I don't know why. Now, it hit me very early on in my career that the best investment I could make was into Secure Money Advisors. Now, it wasn't until Secure Money Advisors was very successful that I started directing money out of Secure Money Advisors and buying companies, other companies. But
you mean stock in other companies?
Stock in other companies, yeah.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, 100% of the money went back into Secure Money Advisors. And still to this day, my accounting department is always instructed to invest back in the company, invest in our people, invest in our infrastructure, invest in our ability to communicate with the public, right? Those are the most important things a company can do.
In your first job, when they were training you and teaching you, tell them to ride the wave. That's just a paper loss. It'll always go back. Historically, it does go back. But if you don't have the years and you can't make it back, you always say nobody knows what the market is going to do in 3 to 6 months. No one knows.
Well, you know, my favorite line that they taught me was, you know, well, I don't have a crystal ball, Bob, so I couldn't tell you what the stock market's going to do, right? And the thing with the crystal ball thing is the fact that, you know, this is what bothers me about it.
We got you a present. I set you up. I was trying to get you to say crystal ball.
Here it is, the infamous crystal ball. Now let's see if we can find out if it can tell us what the stock market actually is going to do.
We don't know.
Let me tell you, this is great. This is great.
Greg in our studio did that for you.
Let me tell you the story about the crystal ball. This is fantastic. Can we get another close shot on that? Because this is awesome. The crystal ball itself, though, here's what bothers me about the way that financial advisors are trained today, okay? Yeah. First off, they are taught cookie cutter phrases like, well, I don't have a crystal ball, right? Or don't worry about it, hang in there, you're in it for the long haul, or it's just a paper loss, right? This is the language of the financial community.
The double talk that you were taught, that they were taught.
Yes. Now, here's what's really concerning about the whole crystal ball thing. People will say, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what's going to happen. But I have one today. But you know, when the stock market goes down, Rebecca, here's what really, really bothers me. Okay, if you don't have a crystal ball and you can't tell me what the stock market's going to do, why in the world are you able to tell me when the market's down that everything's going to be okay?
Amen.
Don't worry about anything. It's just a paper loss. Now, look, if you, as financial advisor, was telling that to a 30-year-old, I would probably agree with you. Don't worry about anything. Just keep investing. But when you say that to a 55-year-old, a 60-year-old, a 65-year-old, a 75-year-old, you're not being truthful.
That's right.
Because you want to know something? You're in trouble. That client is in trouble, and that plan may not work. And that advisor is hoping and praying that this market recovers as soon as it possibly can. Otherwise, they know they're going to be in a world of problems. Because if Mr. Smith was planning on retiring in 2 years, and that stock market's gone down, and you only have 2 years for that portfolio to recover,
it's not happening.
Not happening. Not happening. No. And the thing is, when you lose money, you got to do a lot greater rate of return to get back.
Right. We'll talk about compound loss and compound interest when we come back. We do need to take a break. There's a number on the screen. You can also go to onthemoneyoffer.com. When you call and make an appointment, no obligation, no cost at all. It's true. Brian will also send you this book and even pays for the shipping and handling. Tell us quickly what that first appointment looks and feels like.
Let me ask the crystal ball. Let me ask the crystal ball. It looks promising. No, that first appointment, folks, you'll get a lot out of it. It's comprehensive. We go over 5 key areas with you: income, taxes, investments, your health care, and your estate planning. You'll see the difference in working with a fiduciary firm that gives you a comprehensive financial plan. When you come to the office, as always, nobody's there to sell you anything. We're there to help identify any concerns that you have, any challenges that you have. Remember, your money is only as good, your plan is only as good as the people that you're getting the advice from.
Amen. It might just be a second opinion. You might be on the right track, and we'll tell you that too. All right, more with Brian Quaranta and our crystal ball right after this.
See, everybody can tell you how to invest your money. There's not a lot of people out there and a lot of firms that can teach you how to use your money. Most people will also tell you that they're scared. And the reason they're scared is because they're afraid of running out of money.
The last thing you want to do is have a really good job into your 60s, retire, and be looking for work again in your late 70s.
The average person might say, well, a good portfolio would be a good mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. No. A good portfolio is all designed around the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning.
We're not just product pickers here. What we do best here is we build retirement plans.
9 out of 10 people, when they walk through the door, would ask us, we just want to know if we're on the right track. And I always say, if you're not on the right track, when would be a good time to know it? Probably now.
People, can actually see a vision once we start to really build out their plan.
This is about you. If you're not getting what you need, and you feel that when you walk out of the advisor's office, it's time to get a second opinion. And you can't get a second opinion from the person that gave you the first opinion. The difference at Secure Money Advisors, as a fiduciary firm, we help you manage the risk, build the income, and give you the retirement you dreamed of.
Welcome back. I'm Rebecca Powers. We're having a fun day today taping. You saw our crystal ball in the first segment, kind of joking about Wall Street, telling people, oh, I don't have a crystal ball, but keep your money in there. It should be okay. So risk and retirement, those two words do not go together. Brian, you actually named your business Secure Money Advisors because you know that is the most imperative thing, taking risk out, being secure. Let's talk about some of the ways to secure our money.
Yeah. Well, look, I think the best way to secure money that you're going to need to get monthly income from is from the income annuity. So let me explain why, okay? And I think once people understand why, and they really start to research the benefits of income annuities, they will start to understand that this is the direction that they probably are going to want to go. So I had a client that they weren't a client at the time, but they came in for a review. And they said, look, we just want to see if we're on the right track, if we're doing the right things. And through conversation, we've got a very disciplined process that we follow. There's lots of questions that we ask. But one of the questions is, what is the primary purpose of the money? What does the money need to do for you?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, a lot of people will tell us, and I would say 90% of the people will tell us that the money needs to provide them with some type of income, whether it be monthly or on an as-need basis, right? But they are going to need it to generate income. So I said, well, walk me through your income plan right now.
Okay.
What is the current strategy that your advisor has into place? They said, well, the goal is to take about 4% a year from the portfolio. And I said, okay, so on $1 million, that's about $40,000 a year that you'd be able to take each year. And they said, well, the advisor said we could increase those withdrawals a little bit too every year, okay, based on the portfolio. So I said, okay, so you need $1 million to generate $40,000 a year in using what a lot of people know is this 4% withdrawal rule.
It used to be the 3%.
You said, well, yeah, now they're saying maybe you don't want to take 4, maybe you want to take 3, maybe you want to take 2, right? They're always adjusting for volatility.
Yeah.
You know, what a concept.
Right. Well,
it always changes. We don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
You know, so I said, okay, here's my concern with your strategy.
Yeah.
If you don't get the right rate of return on a year-to-year basis, and you're taking money out when the market's down, which they were telling me they need money every single month. So if the market's down, what are you going to do? Not take money? That doesn't seem like a plan to me.
Right. How are you going to eat and pay your bills?
Right. So what happens is when people use this 4% withdrawal rule, no matter what's happening in the stock market, they continue to take the withdrawals out. Now, some advisors might recommend, well, we'll keep like a year's worth of cash aside so that when the market's down, we don't have to take from the market account, we can take from the cash. Okay, well, what happens if the market's down more than a year? What happens if it's down more than 2 years? That's happened before, 2000, 2001, 2002,
oh, wow.
2003.
Plus
right?
you're compounding the loss.
Plus you're compounding the loss. It's called, it's called sequence risk.
Sequence risk.
Yes, it's called sequence risk. So this is the order in which you receive your returns. Okay. So they need all $1 million to generate the income they need. I said, all right, we can either use 100% of your money to generate 100% of your income, or rather than doing it that way, why don't we approach it like this? What if we were to protect 50% of the money? So let's protect $500,000 and let's leave $500,000 in the stock market. And we're going to take the $500,000 and we're going to put it into an income annuity. That income annuity is going to generate over $51,000 a year in income for them every single year for the rest of his life. If he dies, for the rest of her life, and if she dies, any balance is paid out to the kids.
Amazing.
The other $500,000, let's keep that in the stock market.
Let it ride.
Let's make that our long-term money. But rather than having 100% of the money in the market to generate 100% of our income, we're only going to have half of the money in the market, and we're going to have half of the money in the annuity, and we're only going to use 50% of their money to generate 100% of their income need. Now, what happens if the cost of living goes up? What happens if we need more money?
Right.
Because the annuity is only going to pay a flat $51,000.
It doesn't take into account inflation and different, okay.
No, it does not. Okay. However, why do we have money in the stock market? So if that stock market account earns 10% next year and it goes up $50,000, couldn't we take that $50,000 out and put it aside and use that to offset any inflationary costs that may go up over time, right? If we don't need to take it out to offset for increased cost, then we can just leave it in the market and let it continue to compound. What we've done now is we've created the most valuable thing that you can possibly have with risk that you're taking. Money that you're taking risk with, the most valuable thing you can give it is time.
Right.
And by setting aside enough money in the annuity to generate all the income that they need, we now have created time with that money that's in the market. And that's how you're going to become successful in retirement without worries and anxiety of what's going on in the world, what's happening in the news today, what's this person saying, what's the headline today, is the market up, is the market down? Do you really want to live a life in retirement where you're constantly worried about the news cycle? You're worried whether the market's up, down. That's not a way to build a retirement plan. A retirement plan should be built with some certainty in mind, with peace of mind. And that's what this type of planning gives you. And I write about all of these strategies in my book, Right Track Your Retirement. I believe it's chapter 4, where I talk about think like a pensioner, not a gambler. And I want you to start to think like a pensioner. Look, the technology that we used back in the day has changed. I mean, I used to talk on a corded phone, Rebecca, a corded phone. You know,
I'm older than you, buddy. I know them very well.
You know, and
hanging
then,
on the wall.
Yeah, and then you know you couldn't get away from any of your family members. You'd have to like pull the cord down the hallway and tuck into a room. And but look at how technology's changed just there, right? I mean, then we went to flip phones.
Right.
Well, that was like the greatest thing ever when you had a cell phone.
It was amazing.
But now look.
It's crazy.
I don't even need a computer anymore.
That's right.
I do all my banking, I do all my trading, I do everything right from the phone.
Do you know we have more power in more technology in our phone than, it's me and my husband, than they had to get Apollo 13 back from space?
Right, exactly.
Amazing.
It's amazing. And so when we think about the advances in technology just in our everyday life, you know, phones, microwaves, ovens, you name it, right? Safer cars. The world of investing has also evolved, and it's changed, and there's better technology, right? And that's why we use the income annuity, because the technology is so good, it's hard to argue with the math.
Yeah.
And this is why I highly recommend that you come in, schedule a time, go to onthemoneyoffer.com. You can get a copy of the book. I send it to you absolutely free. But while you're there, you're going to have an opportunity to schedule an appointment. During that appointment, we'll help you look at what you're currently doing. We'll give you a full comprehensive review of everything that you're currently doing. And if you're on the right track, we'll let you know you're on the right track. If you're not on the right track, we'll give you some suggestions to get on the right track. If you want to make those changes, that's up to you. But we're not there to press you to do anything. Or just call 1-888-382-1298. Our team's standing by to get you scheduled. Folks, don't procrastinate on this. Don't kick the can down the road. If you've seen this show before and you thought, man, we really need to go in and see those folks, do it. Pick up the phone today and do it. We'll see you again on the next segment.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I watch you every week. I really need to call him. I'm like, yeah, you really do.
Yes.
All right, stay with us more with Brian Quaranta. Very enlightening and educating. We'll be right back.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to On the Money with Secure Money. I'm Rebecca Powers here with Brian Quaranta. Of course, he created Secure Money Advisors. This is something that you are so passionate about.
Yeah.
You put the name in the show, you put the word in the show and the word in the title of your business, secure. Secure, secure, secure. I think you should paint it outside your building because that's what you are hyper focused on.
Yeah, look, and I openly say we're not the right firm for everybody.
Right.
You know, some people just like to roll the dice.
Right.
They just can't get away from that strategy. But if you're a lot like me, you're a lot like our clients. I prefer protection. I prefer to have things that are a little bit more conservative. I would rather show up just a little bit late, but know I'm safe, than maybe not show up at all. Right? I mean, how many stories have you heard about people losing everything in these cryptocurrency companies? I mean, you know, and I'm not
people going to jail.
People going to jail. Risk is okay, but please just remember, you should only be risking money that you can afford to risk.
Exactly.
People are risking money they can't afford to lose, Rebecca. That's the scary part about the financial planning community is that
the industry needs to change.
The industry needs to change. The industry really needs to realize that, you know, this isn't a game. It's not a dress rehearsal. You don't get a second chance at this.
Right.
If it gets screwed up, you're literally delaying or costing someone their entire retirement. There's a lot of people right now in their 70s that are still working because somebody got paid to take risk with their money and it didn't work out well.
Right. And there's no slap on the wrist even. There's no, the housing market crashed. If you watch the movie about it, you had mentioned the movie to me and you watch it, that they didn't go to jail, they didn't get in trouble, they lost hundreds of billions of dollars and they go to work as usual while millions of Americans suffered.
You know, I was taught by my parents growing up, especially if I was going somewhere, you know, and I was maybe considering buying something, you know, my dad would say, well, don't sign anything. don't sign anything.
Don't sign anything.
And, you know, what people don't realize is one of the best things that you can sign is a contract. Now, a lot of people...
Depends.
Well, so hear me out on this. The contract is the most important thing because it's a legal binding agreement, right? So think about it like this. When you buy a home, you get a mortgage. You are signing a contract, and that contract is going to dictate the terms, meaning you're going to buy a 30-year mortgage at whatever the interest rate is, 2%, 3%, obviously not those rates anymore. You know, when you sign financial paperwork, like to open up a IRA or a 401k, and you're investing in the stock market, you're not signing a contract. You're signing paperwork that says that if we lose all your money, there's nothing you can do about it.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. You're taking the risk. You personally are taking a risk. Read the fine print.
Right.
The reason I like the annuity is because you sign a contract very similar to a mortgage where it says we promise to pay this specified amount for this period of time.
Term.
If it's a fixed rate annuity, it promises to pay that rate regardless for the next however many years. If it's an income annuity, it's a contract saying we're going to pay this much for the rest of your life. In my opinion, I think that is the biggest peace of mind that you can give yourself going into retirement, is having something that you know that you signed that gives you some level of certainty.
And it absolutely does. After doing these shows for so long, I've said this before, that we have half of our money, all of my old 401k money in that, and it really does give you peace of mind.
It sure does. Yeah, it absolutely
There's
does.
nothing like it. Insurance companies, nobody does it better as far as risk, analyzing your longevity, right?
Yeah, and
Nobody does it better.
a lot of people ask, well, how is this insurance company going to provide me an income for the rest of
Right.
my
Sounds
life?
too good to be true is what I hear a lot.
Yeah. Well, first off, let's realize that when the markets went down, I think, what was it, 2021, 2022, there was $300 billion that went into annuities, I believe, right?
Yeah.
You gave me that statistic, I
Yeah,
believe.
that's right. From a Forbes article.
Yeah, from a Forbes article. So why is money rushing there? Well, money is rushing there because,
It's the safe place, and
it's-
all the rich people know where to hide.
That's right.
And more power to them. I mean, that's why they're rich.
Well, listen, one of the biggest financial vehicles that very wealthy people buy, which is a little hidden secret nobody talks about because the average person thinks that when they get older, they don't need life insurance. But one of the biggest purchasers of huge life insurance policies are very wealthy people because of the guarantees that are built into them. Because in life insurance, you can get a guarantee of dividends and cash value, right?
Okay.
But you also get a guarantee in death benefit. So why are so many people rushing to put tons of money into these things? Well, not only for the guarantees, but also for the tax benefits, because death benefits pay tax-free, right? So, but how do insurance companies make money then if they have to pay this money out in the form of income? Well, remember, if I give them $500,000 and in return they give me $51,000 a year in income. By the way, that's over an 11% yield on your money for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Where are you going to get that?
good.
Where are you going to get that type of yield on a payout?
Right.
Right? So, but how do the insurance companies make money? Well, that money, they're only paying out so much a year. The other portion of it's invested. They're making money just like the banks do. It's called the spread. The bank gives you a 4% CD. They turn around, they lend it back out in auto loans, home loans at 6-7%. That's called the spreads, exactly how insurance companies work. Folks, I want to get this book in your hand, Right Track Your Retirement. It's a simple guide to help give you peace of mind and confidence in retirement. Come in for a complimentary Right Track review and give yourself the peace of mind that you deserve. Our team will be willing to help you and give some clarity around retirement. OnTheMoneyOffer.com or call 1-888-382-1298.
And there's the QR code. Thank you again for joining us. The show flies by as usual. Hope you learned something. We'll see you again next week.